What up, y'all? This is your boy, Mr. Downtown Ray Melo, and you're listening to the Entertainment Report on iHeartRadio for Tuesday, June 30th, 2015, delivering some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook or on Twitter, facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Melo, that's RAYMELO, or on Twitter at The Enter Report. You can listen to the show anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com, search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to the page. NBC has ended its business relationship with mogul Donald Trump, citing derogatory statements made by the former Celebrity Apprentice star. The Monday statement obtained by the Wrap specifies that the annual Miss USA and Miss Universe pageants, a joint venture between NBC and Trump, will no longer run on the broadcaster's airwaves. Additionally, Trump will not be participating in the network's reality competition, The Celebrity Apprentice. However, Celebrity Apprentice is licensed from Mark Burnett's United Artists Media Group, a relationship that will continue without Trump per NBC. The network statement began at NBC, respect and dignity for all people are cornerstones of our values. Due to the recent derogatory statements by Donald Trump regarding immigrants, NBC Universal is ending its business relationship with Mr. Trump. The comments made during Trump's presidential campaign announcement on Tuesday included controversial observations about Mexicans whom he says are laughing at us at our stupidity over what he characterizes as a weak border policy. He said, when Mexico sends its people, they're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people, the newly minted candidate said. Trump doubled down on his rhetoric on Sunday during an appearance on CNN's State of the Union, during which he specified, I'm not just saying Mexicans, I'm just talking about people that are from all over that are killers and rapists, and they're coming into this country. He also reiterated his plan to, if elected president, force Mexico to fund the construction of a wall along the southern border of the United States. Trump's comments already prompted Univision, the network that broadcasts his Miss Universe pageant, to end its business relationship with the contest, as well as, quote, any other projects tied to the Trump organization on Thursday. The billionaire responded to the severance of ties with NBC, saying it was actually his decision to part from the network and The Apprentice. He said, they did not want me to run. They wanted me to do The Apprentice, Trump said while speaking at an event in Chicago. And now with my statements on immigration, which happens to be correct, they are going to take a different stance, and that's okay. Whatever they want to do is okay with me. In a related story, George Takei took Donald Trump to task Monday on the GOP presidential candidate's opposition to same-sex marriages, telling MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell Trump contradicts himself in his arguments. Recounting a lunch conversation he had with Trump on the subject 2 years ago, Takei, who appeared on Trump's The Apprentice, told the story of Trump attending a same-sex marriage, saying what a nice time and what a beautiful marriage it was. Takei said on Trump's 3 marriages, that is not traditional. I approve of his 3 times marriage because you want to find the person that you love. But the important thing here is to understand that our democracy is a dynamic democracy, and our Constitution is a living document. It's not carved in stone. He also added, I think Donald Trump's interpretation of marriage is something that he himself doesn't really believe in. Adding Trump's idea of marriage goes against what it really is about, 2 people loving and committing to each other. He also thinks the real estate mogul is like every other Republican candidate. He says, I think he's a businessman. He will go with the win. He's saying that because he's got to win the Republican primary and his base is really the far right wing. Director Justin Lee revealed the title of Star Trek 3 on Monday in a tweet that would have made even the most diehard Trekkies proud. Lynn wrote, let the next Starfleet voyage begin, hashtag Star Trek Beyond, hashtag LLAP, long live and prosper, along with the first image from the set showing the team's uniform Delta Shield emblem. Lynn's hashtag LLAP is a tribute to the iconic actor Leonard Nimoy and Spock's legendary catchphrase, long live and prosper. Nimoy died in February after a bout with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease at the age of 83. Stars Chris Pine as Captain Kirk, Zachary Quinto as Spock, Zoe Saldana as Uhura and Simon Pegg as Scotty are all returning for the third installment, with Idris Elba believing to be joining the cast as the villain. Fast and Furious director Lin took over from Roberto Orci on the sci-fi sequel last year. Star Trek 3 will be produced by Bad Robots J.J. Abrams and Brian Burke, as well as Orci, while Skydance, David Ellison, and Dana Goldberg will be executive producing. Paramount aims to release the film in 2016 to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the original Star Trek TV series. Star Trek Beyond will hit theaters on July 8, 2016. ABC's The View is considering making a change in a permanent part of its host lineup. Actress Molly Sims is being considered as a regular guest co-host on the show. Individuals close to the show told The Wrap. Under The View's new plan, the show will feature a core group of rotating co-hosts, including frequent guest Michelle Collins, who would rotate in and out alongside the 4 regular panelists. Collins and Sims are presently forerunner choices with show brass to potentially fill the 5th seat full-time in the future, according to one of the individuals. The shift in hosting format would follow Raven-Symoné's introduction on June 10th as the show's newest full-time co-host, the most recent in a spat of lineup changes. Sims has been a frequent guest co-host in recent months. Comedian Isia Schlesinger has also guest co-host more than once, but it's unclear if she is also being considered for a guest co-host slot. TBS announced June 9th that Schlesinger, whose stand-up special Freezing Hot premiered on Netflix in January, would host its upcoming game show, Separation Anxiety. Collins drew attention in May when, while appearing on The View, she said of Kanye West's heavily censored performance at the Billboard Music Awards, "Honestly, finally somebody shut up Kanye up." Guest co-host has been a familiar sight on The View since Rosie O'Donnell exited the show in February, just 5 months after returning as part of a new Slate 4-host team that also included Rosie Perez, Nicole Wallace, and returning moderator Whoopi Goldberg. That lineup was introduced following the departures of co-creators Barbara Walters and 2 of her fellow co-hosts, Sherry Shepard and Jenny McCarthy. 50 Shades of Grey author E.L. James took a beating that would make even Christian Grey blush on Monday after a Twitter Q&A devolved into a group drubbing on the erotic fiction author. The Twitterati turned out in droves to take up the gauntlet put down by the hashtag AskELJames, flaying the British writer with barbs of 140 characters or less. 9210 alum Trevor Donovan got into a 2-for-1 shot at James, questioning both her writing abilities and her opinion of women. Donovan jabbed, "What you dislike more, independent, strong woman or the English language?" He also tossed in, "If I stalk a girl and GPS her car, does that mean it's true love?" Another Twitter used a photo of the James line, his eyebrows widened in surprise with the question, "Are you aware that eyebrows can actually do this?" Criticisms of James' writing ability was widespread, with one wise arc weighing in, quote, "After the success of Grey, have you considered retelling the story from the perspective of someone who can write?" Other detractors played with the S&M theme of James' work, with one Twitter user writing, "Is there a safe word which will stop you from writing any more of this bollocks?" On a more serious note, a number of people took James to task for the abusive relationship between her characters, with one pointedly asking, "How do you feel knowing that you have essentially invalidated the experiences of many abused survivors around the world?" Still another asked, "Would you say no to another Twitter Q&A? If so, does that mean yes?" Jack Carter, a veteran comedic performer and director, died Sunday of respiratory failure at his home in Beverly Hills. He was 93. The Brooklyn native worked on a variety of media over his decades-long career, from radio and Broadway to television and films. He got his first break when appearing on Milton Berle's Texaco Star Theater in the late 1940s, then hosted NBC's Cavalcade of Stars, and then evolved to the eponymous The Jack Carter Show for 3 years. Carter received an Emmy nomination in 1975 for the daytime movie special The Girl Who Couldn't Lose. Other TV credits include Dr. Kildare, The Rockford Files, 3 Rock from the Sun, Parks and Recreations, Desperate Housewives, Monk, Family Guy, New Girl, and Shameless. He was a frequent guest on The Ed Sullivan Show, as well as game shows like Match Game and The $10,000 Pyramid. He also directed episodes of Lucille Ball's CBS series Here's Lucy. Carter's big screen appearances include roles in Play It to the Bone, Alligator, Hustle, with Burt Reynolds and Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1. On Broadway, Carter's credits include Call Me Mr. and Mr. Wonderful. He also hosted the first televised Tony Awards in 1956. After joining forces for Pretty Girls, Britney Spears and Iggy Azalea are now at each other's throats, on social media at least. The pair have exchanged a string of bitchy tweets after Azalea blamed Spears for the pop song's failure. During a Twitter Q&A Sunday night, a fan asked the Australian rapper why the single flopped a little bit, and Azalea pointed the finger of blame at Spears. It's difficult to send up a song up the charts without additional promo and television performance, etc. Unfortunately, I'm just featured, she replied. She went on to have an even cruder response to Britney fans when they stuck up for their idol. She tweeted, "My comments, it's factual, it applies to any song. I don't have to suck the woman's asshole 24/7 to be her friend. Do I? Bye, girls." Azalea wrote later claiming that she wasn't meaning to be bitchy or give shade. Not surprisingly, Spears didn't appreciate the dig either, and she got her own back with an unhanded comment about Azalea's tour, which was canceled earlier this year. As icing on the cake, she added an aggressive hashtag relating to her song titled Pieces of Me. She tweeted, "Can't wait to get back to Vegas, so thankful I have shows for the rest of the year to look forward to. Hashtag you want a piece of me." Spears signed a 2-year residency at Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas in 2012, which pays her a reported $15 million a year. Meanwhile, Azalea pulled out of her world tour in May, citing, quote, a different creative change of heart and the need for a break, but many believe it was due to poor ticket sales. Ant-Man may be small in stature, but it is big in star power, as the Hollywood premiere for Marvel's latest movie proving on Monday. Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, and Evangeline Lilly all walked the red carpet at the Dolby Theater on Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles to celebrate the superhero adventure. Despite recent concern over his health, comic book legend and former president and chairman of Marvel Comics Stan Lee was among the A-list guests at the premiere. The 92-year-old looked fittingly fit as he smiled for the cameras, following a report on TMZ that he had been taken from his Hollywood Hills home to Cedars-Sinai's Medical Center on Sunday. Lee told reporters on the red carpet Monday, "The only reason I came was to see my cameo." Rudd plays Scott Lang, who gains the power to shrink in size and increase in power when he obtains the Ant-Man costume. He has to channel his inner hero and help his mentor, Dr. Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, to save the world. Haley Atwell, Bobby Cannavale, Judy Greer, Corey Stoll, Adam McKay, and John Slattery round out the cast. Peyton Reed directs Ant-Man from a screenplay by Edgar Wright and Joe Kernish. Lost star Lily, who is currently pregnant with her second child, plays Hope Van Dyne, the daughter of Prime and the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, in her movie, and at the premiere she posed with her on-screen father, Michael Douglas. Lily's hoping that this won't be her last role with the Marvel family. She says, "I would love to see her join the Avengers. Hope is very, very capable, intelligent, and to a certain extent lethal woman, even in her own right, without any superpowers," she told Contact Music. "I think everyone who signs with Marvel has to sign a multi-picture deal. I'm just crossing my fingers that turns into something, that they ask me back and that I have to do more movies." Rapper T.I., American Idol alum Chris Daugherty was also attended the premiere. With Paramount's Arnold Schwarzenegger sci-fi epic The Terminator Genesis and Warner Bros. Mel stripper tale Magic Mike 2 opening Wednesday, and holdovers Jurassic Park and Inside Out are still going strong, there should be plenty of fireworks at the box office over the 4th of July holiday weekend. Think of all the 4 movies as Roman candles, all expected to land in the 50 million range for the 5 days, with fuses light at the same time. One will burn a little hotter and faster than the others and skyrocket higher than the others. Dan Feldman, distribution chief at Warner Brothers, said, "We have a good shot. We're definitely something different." That's certainly true of the R-rated Magic Mike 2, starring Channing Tatum, Joe Manganiello, Matt Bomer, and Andy McDowell, and not just because about hard-bodied dudes in G-strings. Its production budget is less than $15 million. The studio is hoping to replicate the same low-cost, high-return formula that made a breakout hit of the original Magic Mike, which grossed $167 million globally on a $7 million budget in 2012. Star Matthew McConaughey isn't back for the sequel, nor is director Steven Soderbergh, though his assistant Gregory Jacobs has the helm. The production budget of the PG-13 rated Terminator Genesis is more than 10 times that of of Magic Mike 2, and the stakes are even higher for Paramount and partner Skydance Productions because sequels are scheduled for 2017 and 2018. Given the domestic projections, it's clear that a strong international run will be needed for Genesis to be profitable. Last week it pulled in $8.3 million in 10 small territories, and this weekend it will roll out in roughly 60% of its foreign markets. Schwarzenegger has struggled at the box office since returning to films after his stint as California's governor, and Genesis will test the theory that he'll be back as a box office force when he's featured in a known franchise. His co-stars will be Jason Clarke, Emilia Clarke, Jai Courtney, and J.K. Simmons, and Alan Taylor directs the action film from a script by Reed Carlin. This is the fifth film in the Terminator's franchise, which dates back to 1990. James Cameron wrote and directed the original Terminator and its sequel Judgment Day. Whether moviegoers recall those stylish epics and their groundbreaking special effects or the two subsequent sequels, which were less well received, could have a lot to do with the performance of Genesis. Advanced sales suggest Magic Mike could have a slight edge, as do the early reviews. Genesis is at a not-so-hot 33% positive on Rotten Tomatoes, while the stripper tale is at a decent 60%. This holiday weekend should be better than last year's, when Terminator Age of Extinction was number one with a lackluster $37 million in its second week that set the tone for a dismal summer. The fact that the holiday fell on a Friday hurt. Not only were there no extra days off for moviegoers, but many were busy lighting their own fireworks on the actual holiday. The situation will be much the same this year, with Saturday likely to be off as much as 35% from Friday. Magic Mike 2 will be in 3,335 theaters, while Terminator Genesis will be roughly in 3,700 theaters, including a full complement of IMAX screens that will take over from Jurassic World. And now, on this day in entertainment history. On this date in 1989, the writer-director Spike Lee's third feature film, Do the Right Thing, a provocative, racially charged drama that takes place in one block in Brooklyn's Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood on the hottest day of the year, is released in U.S. theaters. The block in question is home to Sal's Famous Pizzeria, the only white-owned business in the neighborhood. Mookie, played by Lee, delivers pizza for Sal, played by Danny Aiello. He is friendly with Sal's younger son, Vito, played by Richard Edson, a fact that angers Vito's brother, Pino, played by John Turturro, who resents the black majority in the neighborhood. As various characters talk and circulate around Sal's and the nearby Korean-owned convenience store, tensions build to the breaking point and violence breaks out with tragic consequences. Among Do the Right Thing's memorable supporting characters are the neighborhood staples the mayor and mother-sister real-life couple Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee. Radio Raheem, played by Bill Nunn, who continues blasting Public Enemy's rap Fight the Power from his massive boombox. Mookie's sister, Joji Lee, Spike's own sister, his Puerto Rican girlfriend Tina, played by Rosie Perez, making her film debut, and the smooth-talking radio disc jockey Mr. Senior Love Daddy, played by Samuel L. Jackson. Upon its release, Do the Right Thing caused a sensation for its incendiary portrayal of race relations, including specific allusions to some of the notorious recent events in New York. In an interview with New York Magazine in April 2008, the always oft-spoken Lee recalled of the controversy. One of the biggest criticisms was that I had not provided an answer for racism in the movie, which is insane. And what's even more insane is people like Joe Klein, who also wrote about the film for the New York Times, and David Denby felt that this film was going to cause riots. Young black males were going to emulate Mookie and throwing garbage cans through the window, like, how dare you release this film in the summertime? You know how they get in the summertime. This is like playing with fire. I hold no grudges against them, but that was 20 years ago, and it speaks for itself. Nominated for 2 Oscars, Best Supporting Actor for Aiello and Best Original Screenplay for Lee, Do the Right Thing was later called culturally and significant by the U.S. Library of Congress and stands to this day as one of Hollywood's most notable portrayals of modern-day racial tensions. And also on this day in 1975, Cher, America's famously newly single woman, tied the knot with rock star Gregg Allman, only to file for divorce from him just 9 days later. Those who found Cher's speedy return to the altar alarming might have felt differently had they known how long marriage number one had actually been over. By early 1973, Sonny and Cher were living together with their youngest daughter, Chastity, but also with their respective lovers. Sonny wrote in his diary at the time, "The public still thinks we are married," and that was the way it had to be. By the time her divorce was finalized, the 29-year-old Cher had been playing the field for nearly 3 years and had been sharing her Homely Hills mansion with Gregg Allman for at least 3 months. Allman became famous as a co-founder of the Allman Brothers Band, a group hailed on their induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as the principal architects of Southern rock. Following the death of his older brother Duane in 1971 in a motorcycle accident, Gregg pursued a solo career that included the hit album Laid Back in 1973, which was in current release when the 27-year-old rocker met Cher at the Troubadour Club in Los Angeles. Cher's divorce became finalized on June 25, 1975, and 5 days later, reportedly on a whim, she and Allman boarded a Learjet from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, where they were married in a hotel suite belonging to Cher's manager. Just 10 days after, however, Cher filed divorce from Allman amid rumors of his abandoning her to a drinking and drug binge during their honeymoon. In a statement released to the press, Cher says, "I've always believed it's best to admit one's mistake as quickly as possible." In fact, Cher would reconsider her divorcing filing and remain married to Allman until 1979. Billed as Allman and Woman, they would release a 1977 album called To the Hard Way that is regarded as the worst of either artist's retrospective career. They would also have a son, Elijah Blue Allman, who is now the leader of his own rock and roll band, Dead Say. And that's your entertainment report for Tuesday, June 30th, 2015. I'm your host, Mr. Downtown Ray Melo. I'll be back tomorrow to deliver some of the major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook or on Twitter, facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Melo. That's RAYMELO. Or on Twitter at The Enter Report. You can listen to this episode or any previous episodes of The Entertainment Report anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com, search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to the page. Good night, and God bless you all.